Here in the States, it's Thanksgiving time. People are traveling. Inside mashing potatoes, stewing apples, getting the turkey prepped. Here I am in the car with you. There's a season to everything, but car videos remain a constant. I wanted to let you know, if you don't already have it, this is a very serious announcement. If you don't already have it and you're into Neville Goddard and the law of assumption, I wrote a series of books, short books, back in 2015 and 2016, which I loosely coined the Relax with Neville series. The books are Relax More, Try Less, Mindful Manifestation, and Manifestation Through Relaxation. Those books are free today on Kindle. So if you do not have them, they're free. I'll put the link below to the Amazon link. If you're outside of the United States and the link doesn't work, just look in your Amazon marketplace wherever you are. Canada, the UK, elsewhere in the world. You should be able to find it. It should be free internationally today. Relax More, Try Less. Mindful Manifestation and Manifestation Through Relaxation. Now, occasionally, for people who are new to my channel, or just people who find my stuff via searching for Neville stuff online, they wonder who the heck I am. And that's understandable, because I'm just some dude in the car to them. And that's pretty accurate, actually. I am just a dude in the car. But what I think a lot of people who watch these videos might not understand is that I've been into Neville for a long time and written extensively about his stuff, as well as edited collections of his work. Back in the day, mainly from like 2014 to 2017. That longer series, I'll put a link to that below too. What the heck? Let's get crazy. That longer series is the Neville Explains the Bible series, which I put together over a couple of years, like I said. So when people are like, well, who's this guy talking about Neville? That's who I am. I'm an editor and someone who's written commentary about Neville. And I just got to be blunt. Still not many people have written somewhat intelligent commentary about Neville's stuff and published it. They just have not. There's still not that many books about Neville and his approach. And I would love to see more intelligent books written about his approach. But it hasn't happened yet. And instead we have this social media frenzy where people speak very unintelligently about his work and his approach in different ways of utilizing it. And it's just a bunch of groupthink, generally speaking. So one reason, if you've been wondering, like, who the heck is this guy? Why is he so critical of this social media Neville scene, law of assumption scene? It's because of that. The books I just mentioned, the Relax with Neville books, the stuff I talk about in there, involving relaxation, involving your imagination, involving pragmatically utilizing some of the tools that Neville talks about, and being more present and fulfilled in the moment. That kind of commentary and advice is lacking when it comes to most of the law of assumption advice we see on YouTube. And I think that really sucks for people who get into Neville, who find out about Neville, because they find out about Neville and then go down these social media avenues, as opposed to being able to kind of contemplate his work and get some different perspectives of his work from a more, you could say, like, just, I want to say grounded viewpoint, but also just a more like removed viewpoint, where everybody doesn't just gullibly buy everything that someone says and think that it's gospel, because it's not. So that's who I am, if you're wondering, if you're relatively new here. And I do suggest you check out those books if you are into my channel at all and have not read them, because I think that they give very practical insights for how to apply Neville's advice if you struggle applying his advice, as most people frankly do, and how you can bring relaxation into it to make it easier for you, and how by relaxing more you can utilize your imagination more effectively. And I go through phases where, people ask me questions about Neville all the time. And I talk about Neville and the law of assumption a lot because of that, and because it's a popular topic on here. And I bring a little bit of a different perspective. But honestly, there's a lot of other teachers and teachings and approaches that I think are more relevant for most people, including for myself. And I think I'm going to stop talking about Neville so much in the short term, at least, because I'm pretty tired of of what I'm hearing and the questions I'm getting and the craziness of the community. I go through waves where like I want to respond to people who have questions and are wondering about it, but sometimes I'm just like, you know what, it seems almost useless. Like it's much better for me just to be like, listen, these books are free. You can read these books if you want to. They're going to give you a better explanation of my opinion than anything I say on YouTube. Because that's true. I think the most intelligent and interesting stuff I said about Neville, I said back in those books in 2015 and 2016, because that's when I was really into his stuff. A lot of you, if you've been into Neville for a while, you'll get kind of disillusioned with a lot of his stuff unless it works really, really well for you. If it works really, really well for you, the chances are you'll continue to study his work and his advice. But for most of us, some of it's going to work well for you. Like we were talking about the other day, a little bit of it's going to work well for you, and that's enough. And then you can supplement and augment that with other law of attraction material, law of assumption material, whatever you want to call it, that's going to further help subjectively help you. Your individual experience, your unique experience is not something that is like in a cookie cutter box here. And again, that's what's missed in these YouTube circles. And yeah, it's why I'm making kind of like a cynical, negative Thanksgiving video about this, because I just think it's silly how people can't even use normal language to describe like Neville's ideas. You know, we get questions about like, well, in the 3D, this is like this, and am I using my mind the right? Fucking whatever. The lingo, all the horse shit. There's more interesting things to explore and study when it comes to these manifesting ideas. So I'm sorry I'm being such a hard ass, but that's what's coming through right now. And I shoot from the hip. Also, you know, just to restate, if you want to talk to me, if you have a question for me, email me. Contact me on my website, radicalcounselor.com, or email me at info@radicalcounselor.com. Don't leave a comment for me and expect me to read it, let alone respond. This YouTube channel exists for many reasons at this point. It's expanded out in many different ways. It started as almost just a joke. But it's not just a joke anymore, because, you know, I'm not really doing the podcast anymore. And I'm focusing on this channel because I can share this information in a very informal way, very easily, by doing these car videos. So I like doing it. But I want to restate that I'm doing it in a way where I'm not going to be like interacting on social media with people. If you want to talk to me, email me. Communicate with me personally. The way people used to do. You know how people used to send letters to each other? I love talking to people about this stuff. You know, and I also love coaching people on this stuff. But most people just are not serious about it. And that's, I don't like that. I don't want you watching my channel if you're not serious about these ideas. You know? Those books, Relax More, Try Less, Mindful Manifestation, Manifestation to Relaxation, those are serious books. They're serious commentary. And if you know my stuff, you know I'm a very unserious guy a lot of the time. But what I do in terms of sharing this stuff, I do from my heart, and I take it seriously. And we don't fuck around here. I try to treat you well, and I expect to be treated well in turn. That's how we can help each other, learn from each other, and hopefully be able to improve our lives practically and improve other people's lives practically by doing that more. And these law of assumption ideas, law of attraction ideas can really help us do this on a practical level. And as you know, I often talk about, so many of these ideas tie back to just the golden rule: do unto others what you would have done to yourself. Fascinating and simple and straightforward at the same time. But let's be real about it. Let's be serious about it. Let's give thanks to that. The reason I'm not inside stewing apples right now is because this is important. You are important. What you are is important. It's not some silly, sensationalistic concept. To think that's what Neville was talking about, I think is silly. To think that what anybody is talking about, from the position of teacher, making them a special person and putting them on a pedestal, or putting some supposed law on a pedestal, is silly in my opinion. What's not silly is this right now. And can you handle that? When we strip away all the pretense, all the bullshit. That's not silly. That's interesting. That's where it's at, in my opinion. And we can relax into that more.